We're back. Here we are. We're speaking about our podcast. This is the launch. This is the new chapter, the new everything. We are the death of our sons, the rebirth of ourselves. So, two mothers and one imaginable loss. Are you ready for this, Debbie?
I'm not sure, but I think we are. I think I am.
I think it's a process. And so here we are. And this is how we're going to go about it. So, to speak about who I am and what my process looked like, I'm a healer, a divine servant of the collective. I'm a mother, which is very important to me, but it's not the only thing that I am. And so I'm here because I know through my stories, there's healing through my stories. There's a chance to be able to see yourself and hear yourself. And that's a huge part of what's important to me. And I think that's also what I am. Going through that process brings back a lot of memories, brings back a lot of trauma, a lot of places that are not fully healed. But that's okay too, because this is part of the process. We're here to speak about our experience and where we've come from. So where I've come from, I'm originally from Montreal. I'm here in Ontario now, and kind of moving on from what that process started me off with. My son passing away, and then kind of reinventing what life looks like after that. My two children left, brotherless, and going through their own grief and their own process, and myself going through managing marriage and also parenting, and also the other life transitions happening. It just is what it is. And so that's kind of how I see myself. How do you see yourself, Debbie?
There's so many things. I'm a mother. A mother of three. My son, who was my firstborn, as we said. I'm a grandmother of three. I'm a wife. I'm a friend. And I'm an advocate. I'm a believer. I believe that my faith and my spirituality has really brought me through this storm. I live my life on the principle of that whenever there's a need and you can fill that gap, you do so. And I think for me, us stepping forward in this process and sharing our story is filling the gap in the hope that it will help our healing, help someone else, and to do something bigger than us.
Definitely. It is a different space and time. I think now this time is the most meaningful because the years of healing that have passed have revealed parts of ourselves and parts of myself, I can say, that I didn't know existed. And so as we embark on this, we speak about the purpose of this. The purpose is to bring the voice to the unheard, to bring the ideas out that maybe some mothers could never speak about, even ourselves in our own experience, what we couldn't speak about. We're going to kind of drag you through and funnel you through the ups and the downs. Each episode will deal with the pain, the trauma, the transitions, the transformations. And we intend to make sure that we come from a place of compassion and love always. And even in the painful moments, the love is still there. That's pretty much the purpose of our podcast at this time.
And I think what is important too, for both of us in the process of this, it's been a while, it's taken us a while to get to this point. In sitting here and sharing our story, is that it's keeping it real about the pain and what the pain was, and keeping it real in just the process of us putting this podcast together. and how painful that was for us. And I, just sharing our story of us stopping and says, okay, we can't do this today. But I think it's important, as you said, right, is really helping a mother, a brother, a sister through this journey. And the death of a child and the rebirth of self and what that self looked like and being true to self. So that's the journey of it.
Most definitely. We'll be sharing our life stories, the trauma, the sadness, the crazy that comes through, the guilt, even the shame, even that plays a part as well. The ups and the downs, all the different pieces we're going to be able to share in this podcast. And it comes from a place, a very genuine place. So I guess we can start. We'll start with our first episode.
We'll start with our first episode.
Yes. So we'll be talking about the loss of our firstborn, what that experience was for us individually and the different parts that we went through, the different pieces that we eventually had to piece together. So it kind of started with like the phone call. I was at work and I got a call, to come, your son is down. I was kind of like, well, my son is down. What does that mean? Your son is down. You have to come right away. And then I don't really, I can honestly say that I don't have a lot of the memories around it. Of course, before and after, a lot of things are blurred now. If you asked me the story a couple years ago, I might have got it better. But leaving work, I only remember bits and pieces leaving work and sitting in the taxi. And I remember the taxi man saying, "Miss, if you keep breathing like that, we won't make it. We won't make it to the site. We won't get there." He's like, "You won't make it." And I was like, what is he talking about? I'm like, I'm breathing regular. I didn't even know what I was doing. And then we got there and I looked and I was like, oh, I missed him. The ambulance already had him. And I feel like I'm remembering parts that are not that important, but it's all that I remember. And just sitting there trying to compose myself, but not trying to compose myself, not wanting to, and realizing that like, this is really happening. Like you ran to see what this phone call was telling you that was happening to your son. And then going back to the hospital and like all his friends being there, lining the hallways of the hospital. And then the memory jumps to when they let us see him, which was so weird. They let us stay in the room with him because they probably didn't know what to do themselves, and his body was just there lying down. And my aunt said that she can resurrect him. And I was like, what is going on? What is she talking about? So it was like, but it was like so unreal for some of us, and then the doctor who was working on him when he came in on the ambulance, the doctor was there, and I looked at the man and I was like, I saw everything on his face. He had nothing to say to me that I didn't already know. And he was sweating all over his body, his sweating through his shirt because he was going to go home and from his shift and they told him that he had to come back. And so he came back and he did everything he could. But my soul already told me, or at least my son's soul already told me that like he never made it to the hospital, but they still tried. And then I jumped forward to like just whatever that entailed on a day-to-day basis, and I don't really remember much of it. I don't remember parenting my daughters after that. I don't remember really cooking for anybody, doing anything in the house. And then I was greatly distracted, which I probably welcomed on some levels, that my father was dying. So then I kind of went to do that. I came to Toronto and nurse him until his last moments and whatever that took. So I was like, okay, well, I'm already off work for my son. I'll just stay off work and take care of my dad. And so then I buried my dad a year after burying my son. And then going through the murder trial was another piece in itself. And I kind of resonated some things with myself that it was like, well, you know what? I don't really believe in man's law, and I don't think any direction that this goes in, that this will really change anything for me. It didn't really matter, so I didn't really want to be there. I went a couple times to court, and then I just wasn't interested. I wasn't interested in being there. It didn't mean anything. It has no value to me. It doesn't, no matter which way it goes, it's neither here nor there for me in my process. And so I kind of like swam through that and didn't swim through it, and made just decisions and choices. Yeah.
It's our next episode.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's interesting. See, we told you it's lots of tears, lots of pain. We're keeping it real. I think the connection with us is how we met, but that's for another episode. For me, when I recall getting the call, was from the neighbor where my son lived. And you go into the space as if it's an out-of-body space. That's all I can remember in how my reaction was. I wasn't shaken. I was concerned, but I wasn't shaken. And by the time we got to the house, the ambulance already taken him. And still, I didn't know how the outcome of it is. My firstborn son, he was if you have kids, there's one child that you can feel their energy of what is happening or what's going on. And so my son, my firstborn, he was that child. And for me, it was weird that I wasn't feeling him, that there was something that he was dying. We talked to the police. They said, they're taking care of him. And it's such a blur. It's like you have I had no attachment to my feelings. It was just the process. We got to the hospital and tried to reach my other son. Couldn't find him. And we got there, and there was the police had, blocked everyone, and it was COVID time. And I still didn't feel that he was gone until we finally reached my other son. His friends came, and we waited, and we waited, and we waited, and we waited forever until the doctor came out. And the police was standing beside the doctor. And I think my connection was, why is this police standing beside the doctor? I know he's fine. And then she said, he's gone. And I that's when I lost my mind. I wanted to see him. And these are when you talk about the regrets. The regrets is that I didn't physically fight. I was on the ground, like passed out, screaming. My husband and my son, my daughter, we were all trying to make sense of it. And the doctor was saying, you cannot see him in the way, in how he looks. And then I guess eventually we say we couldn't fight it anymore. We said, okay, we'll go home. And we made I called a few people. I think one of the process that always stays. And the thing about, I find about when you, that memory never goes away. And bits of it comes back of things that you thought, oh, I don't remember this. Oh, oh, this person was there. And like you, both our sons were murdered. The court piece is a different story, but today is just about how you walk through the journey, how you heal. And for me, I think the biggest struggle we're talking about is the rebirth of ourselves and what it looks like. Because before we were parenting, doing our things, and then this is where we are.
Yeah.
So I think that's...
It's a lot, because the rebirth is because of what's happened. Like, it's because of it's because of what the grief has done to us, and because of the way that it's transformed us. It's because of how we deal with it and how we dealt with it. It's because of the different ways that our families have been impacted. Like, that's what it feels like the rebirth comes from. So, like, the title is pretty much what our journey is, like that. So there's a rebirth, because I'm not the person that I was, not even remotely close to that person. And so it's this new being that's coming up, like still coming up and still breaking away the pieces, the layers, and what's attached to it is what's really interesting, is that all the other painful things in life attached to it, and it's like, okay, well, this is happening. Let me give you some more, because you're doing this anyways. So let me give you some more. And I think that's really what the death of our sons was about. Like, it was to bring forth everything. And we'll be exploring that through the episodes to come.
And I think in the episode, and for full transparency, I think when we were talking about the rebirth and talking about starting to do this, for me, I find I struggle with about the healing. When people say you heal, do you really heal? And so you'll find I'm a bit opposite of Roxanne, because I get bitter, and I now, well, I've gotten better in having a sailor's mouth. I don't say that other words quite often, but for me, I think my thing is that, do you ever heal, or do you just, it's a process. It's a process. And that hole is never, it just, things just get on top of it, and then it just opens up and things go on it, and I think the good stuff is when you try remember who these mighty people and these legends that we gave birth to. I think that's what helps that makes it the healing piece for me, that define it as the healing. But for me, even when I hear the word healing, I get very triggered and upset. And so that's the good thing about both of us, is that, you have to stay true to what it means for you in this journey and the process, and what rebirth looks like for you. So I think that's it for us in our first.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we wanted to share today. And
our closing
stuff.
Yeah,
be sure to see us soon. We want to exit this with, we honor our children by honoring our healing. Until next time, take it one breath at a time, one step, and one day at a time.
Be blessed.